We're back after like a 2-year hiatus. Welcome back. I'm Asha. This
Hi,
is Fanon.
I'm Fanon.
And we're back with a recap of The Real Housewives of New Jersey, season 13, episode 1. It's the premiere. It's 2023. And this episode was overwhelming. It was just a lot, but it was a really good premiere. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was cute. I didn't think it was well, it was a lot. It was a really long episode. Like I was not expecting for it to
Yeah.
be minutes, but we haven't seen him in a while, so I'm not mad at it. But
Mm-hmm.
maybe I was mad at it yesterday. I'm not gonna lie. I did make a comment on it, but yeah.
It was, it was good. It was good. We're excited. Fanon and I have lots of notes, and we're going to break it down and give our thoughts and opinions as we always do. So let's get started. Okay. So the episode starts off with just a recap of what we're going to see this season. And then we're back in Jersey, Teresa's house, which is really big compared to Melissa and Joe's house, which is really small. That's what I noticed on my rewatch. What did you think of like the first part of the episode for the commercial? There's a lot more that we can get into. It starts off with Dolores.
Yeah. Well, Bravo had me because what it did in this episode was like it flashed into like 3, 4, 5, 6 different housewives, like within, I swear to God, a minute or so. And they did it really well.
You literally.
They meshed things together. Like they started out with Dolores and her daughter still living with her. And then they talk about, hey, will you be going to Melissa and Joe's place? And then they move into Melissa and Joe's place. And then they move into Joe being salty about Teresa. So then Teresa's there. Like they did a really good job of doing all of that, but shit, it was a lot to like catch up
It was very
a little
fast.
bit. But yeah, like what did I think
Play
about
at half speed.
That was my Siri. It was really weird. I don't know why she came up. Sorry.
That says
The more stuff happens with like Dolores because Frank comes in and he doesn't knock. And I just like don't know what's wrong with him.
yeah. Yeah, so like basically like she never really holds boundaries with Frank. And so he just feels like he's with her, but he's not with her because she never, has told him straight up boundaries. Like now she has been because Polly's not comfortable with him, but he's having a hard time, like, adjusting and accepting that and like understanding that, like, I'm not going to be on your hip. Like, I'm not going to be just this accessible, like, as I was before. I think that's what Dolores was sharing, but part of the problem is like she allowed that for so long. You let this nigga live with you.
So true.
For how long?
Literally.
So
he thinks he's so still part of family because he was saying like, I want you and me and Polly and the children to be in the same room together. It's like, can you stop?
right, like remember, like, and yeah, so he's just like a leech and he really needs to just, I think like he's just maybe holding on because like of that Bravo check potentially. I don't know that he gets money from Bravo, but like maybe that's one of the reasons why he's holding on, or he's codependent. A lot of niggas are. I'm codependent a little bit. So but I'm not gonna like completely blame it on Frank because Dolores allowed it. So yeah.
We go on more into the episode. And Jen has a broken toe. She broke her toe at Teresa's 50th birthday party. And so they did, like her mom did like a Turkish tradition to repel negative energy. Then she was telling her mom that it didn't work. And then she was saying that the evil eye or the negative energy was coming from Dolores. And literally in my notes I wrote, why would why would Dolores care about Jennifer?
I thought that was funny. I thought when, they moved into Jennifer and her showing her broken toe and like her daughter kind of clocked her in that moment and was like, maybe you're just an airhead. And that was so funny to me. And I don't understand why she thinks Dolores has put an evil eye on her. Um, I don't think Dolores cares that enough to do something like that. But I honestly feel like Jennifer's really, really hurt from Dolores, especially from the reunion,
Yeah,
because of how she called her, the C word, kind of like out of nowhere. It was like when she called her that, I was like, that wasn't really needed to be
there's
said.
no point.
There's really no point. Like, I think Jennifer's delivery is obviously shit all of the time. So I feel like Dolores, and Dolores doesn't play games, so I think that might have to do with the fact that she called her the C word. Yeah, I don't think that Dolores cares enough to put an evil eye on her. But I think Jennifer's really hurt. And like you can see in this episode that she's really hurt because she cannot stop talking about this. Like
Yeah.
one thing about me is like when I am like hurt about something, I will like talk about it like endlessly to everybody. Um, I actually deal with it, and so um, I really think that Jennifer's hurt, and she has a right to be hurt. I don't know why. Oh, I don't know what exactly she's hurt from. I don't know if she's hurt from the reunion or if she's hurt from
Yeah.
fact that like Dolores never really had her back, but Dolores never really has anyone's back like that. So like, I don't know, but I know that Dolores and Margaret have a very close relationship, and like maybe that might make Jennifer feel some kind of way.
I agree. I'm not really understanding what this fight is between Jennifer and Dolores. I mean, I understand like she was upset about what her saying that when they were filming the reunion last year, but I was really like, really? Like she if she's apologized for that, then we could be good, but I don't know if Dolores ever really apologized for that. And Dolores is like, I'm a really good friend. I've always been a really good friend, more better than anyone. And I was like, are you guys friends? Like that close? And
Yeah,
now we're just ending over that? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just forgetting some of their closest moments during this past couple seasons. This whole beef between them is just kind of weird.
yeah. I think maybe part of it is because maybe Dolores had more Jennifer's back with Melissa when they've got back and forth with each other, because I don't think Dolores
Hmm.
have that close of a relationship. But when it was Margaret and Jennifer, uh, I don't think Dolores really supported Jennifer in that way. Honestly, like she did say, like sometimes Jennifer's indefensible. Like she said things like that last season, and I think those
Hmm.
Jennifer, and I think rightfully so. But um, you have to communicate that to Dolores in like a better way, Jennifer. You're still my daughter, though. Uh,
So ended with Dolores and Jennifer. Jennifer was like, I'm closer with Melissa now that I am with Dolores. And it transitions over to Melissa. Melissa says she's having a party for Memorial Day weekend. Didn't understand that last night when I watched, but now I get it. It was for Memorial Day weekend. Anyone who knows her says she's so 80s. She's having this party. She said she invited Teresa. So then Teresa hasn't texted her back, I guess. And she got upset because she invited her to the 50th birthday party and she didn't want to go. and was upset about the reunion last year when she left her out as a bridesmaid. So all the sisters that Louis has is gonna be her are gonna be her bridesmaids. And then we go to Teresa's house where she is filming.
Wait,
Wow, wow,
we
wow.
missed a critical part here. I have to mention this. You said that Melissa, this is what happened. Okay. I am realizing things right now, so I need to share this with you. Okay. Joe is the reason why we've been pinning this shit on Melissa, but Joe is the reason why these bitches can't get along. Because this is what happened, okay? In that scene, Melissa didn't bring up anything regarding Teresa, right? She didn't. She was just like, I'm gonna
Party.
invite everybody.
And have
And
party and invite everybody.
Joe was like, you're gonna invite Trey? She didn't invite you. Then they get into shit because Joe is unfortunately jealous of Teresa. And this is why they will never get along, because Joe is jealous of Teresa. And that's all I have to say. I don't care for Melissa, but I'm not gonna have my foot on Melissa's neck in this moment. Her man did this shit, period.
You know what? You're right. Like he honestly started that whole thing in that entire scene. But it was also happening, they did like a back and forth, but it was also happening at Teresa's house. And Teresa was like, well, obviously I'm sad that they're not here. Um, girl, you could have invited them, but anyway.
She
And it's
did.
like, I'm sad that they're not. Oh, she did?
She
I thought
invited.
no, she didn't. I thought she meant she invited them to her party in like Tulum in Mexico.
Yeah, but she also invited them to this thing too. But I guess they were busy. They had like a different event. The way the editing was, it was like it happened. Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's so good.
Okay. There are two parties, two separate parties. Okay. So yeah, like when she said that, and then Louis was like, well, it just shows that they're insecure and weak. And I was like, all right, well, I don't know if it shows that, but and then it had me almost like kind of standing up for Joe and Melissa for a second. Ugh, I don't even want to say that. But I was just like, how does that show that they're weak and insecure? You're not a part of this fight. This is a family fight. But also, I have my own thoughts about Louis later in this episode. And I'm glad that they transitioned to Teresa, who's having her 50th birthday party at her house, and she's inviting Louis' family over, and they seem really sweet. Like they all like each other, and she's really happy to be making his sisters her bridesmaids, and they're all having dinner, and she's talking about how close she is as a family now, and like how it was missing that void or filling that void that she was missing or hadn't been able to fill because of her other family, and told her daughters that she never wanted them to be in a situation like her and Joe are. And her daughters are like, that'll never happen.
I thought that was so pathetic of Teresa to say that to me, in my opinion. Like, duh, you don't want your family to fight. Nobody wants their family to fight. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you saying that?
These are our opinions on like the first basically part of the episode.
In that last part with Teresa, talking to her family about that, I just thought that was so pathetic. Like, whatever. Like, every parent would want that for their siblings, right? Like your mom would probably be like, I don't want you guys to fight. Like every parent wants that. What the fuck kind of, anyways. Um One thing that, like, I think that's all I have to say about that, but I just thought that was really pathetic. And I just feel like Joe has so much resentment towards Teresa. I remember listening to Carlos King's podcast with Teresa, and how he had shared that that Teresa's mother, or Teresa or him had shared that Teresa's mother had shared that the reason why Joe had that blow up at the christening was because he was looking for a moment just like Teresa. Like he was jealous of her. And I think, you know, I think his parents love Teresa and Joe more than him. Like I feel like he has built up resentment towards Teresa. And I think he's also really upset with Teresa for calling him a bitch boy last season. And he just
It's
has a
pretty
lot of
bad.
frustration. And I think this is part of the reason why Melissa and Teresa cannot get along because of him. He's jealous of her. And Teresa's not smart enough to like realize like your brother, like I know you love him. He is jealous of you. And this is more about him than it is Melissa.
I think they both are jealous of her and her
You're totally
success.
right. Yeah.
I think they both are. I think, like, just the fact that they both came onto the show, and the fact that just even the first part of this episode, they had nothing else to talk about except for their damn party and Teresa. Interesting. Always the topic of conversation she is. I think for the reason, specific when they like came onto the show, like to kind of like take down Teresa, and how like Teresa's cousin joined too. Like she's never had loyal family except for her parents and like her daughters. And now we're seeing it. And it seems like all of those people were just jealous of Teresa. Like it's just pure jealousy. Y'all can't flip a table and be iconic like she can. Okay? Y'all wish you could go to jail and still have a show waiting for you when you got back. But that's just like not gonna happen for you. And we could go on about Joe and Melissa, but
Yeah.
we're not gonna do
I
that.
mean, we have the time to do that, but maybe a different day. But yeah,
Maybe a
I'm
different time.
totally right about Melissa being jealous too. But I even think Joe
It
is
stems from Joe.
I even think Joe is jealous of Melissa and how she's got fame. I'm literally not kidding. Like I think Joe is jealous of it. You remember in the calendar shoot? Sorry, we're about to spoiler alert, but in the calendar shoot, like you know how he was eating up all of that, like he's a little girl sometimes.
I didn't say
So
bitch boy.
yeah, I didn't want to say that. I think that's mean, so I'm not going to. But I feel like I'm gonna put my foot on Joe's neck more than I am on Melissa in this moment because in that, like Joe was riling up Melissa in that moment. Melissa didn't bring up no mess about Teresa in that moment until Joe
No, he didn't.
asked because he's jealous. Period.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Period. All I wrote was Melissa's party. Okay. And then Marge gets
shade
there.
like that. It was
Um,
cute.
it was cute, but like,
80s theme. It was roller rink. Like they all look cute. Like let's say it.
I said it was cute. Like, what more do you
But
want
you
from
didn't
me?
say it until I said that.
I was telling you what I wrote in my notes. I was just letting you know.
I'm just trying
Okay,
to put your
a
foot
cute party.
on his neck.
Listen, you're not gonna do that, okay? Just because your
But
foot
I
is
just
more on Joe's
did.
neck than mine. My feet are on both their necks equally. Like
So
they're just
are mine.
planted there right now.
Actually, they're not. Actually, I'm wrong.
Yeah,
My
what are you talking about? You have your foot more on Joe's neck right now.
yeah, I gotta get the straight men together because they're ruining sisterhood.
Okay, so
Sorry,
anyway, it's Melissa's party. Melissa's cute party. Marge is getting there. They're talking about Teresa. Teresa's arriving. Joe seems upset that Louis didn't dress up, but he says hi to them, and then he just kind of ignores Teresa. And then it seems like they're introducing a new friend of like Marge and Dolores' friend Jen Fessler, who I don't really care about, but I wrote a note about her because she seems like she's kind of involved in the mix. Marge was on the roller rink and then she fucking fell and broke her wrist. It's not funny, but it kind of is. And
Oh,
then
it's funny.
um Teresa Teresa was saying that she's trying to be better with not, you know, having a huge temper and freaking out. So she says hi to Marge, and Marge is, saying hi to Louis, and but Marge is like, "Oh, I'm afraid that she'll take a swing." Like, shut up. Like, be quiet. And then, yeah, just like Teresa's growing, they introduce the two new housewives, Danielle and Rachel, and they're both cute. Saw today that Rachel's the first housewife to ever be born in the '90s, so we stand. She's like 1991, so that's pretty
I'm not
far
standing
attached
with
from us.
nobody I don't know.
Why?
We saw what
We
happened with
stand.
Jen Shaw.
We we saw what happened with Sydney.
Period. Period. I'm about to walk off after saying that. Sorry.
And so then Jennifer comes, and Jennifer, says hi to like the same group that Dolores is in, but then runs away from Dolores. So then Dolores is like, what the hell? Frank, goes into a scene with Joe, Frank, and Frank's girlfriend, which Frank has a girlfriend? Why doesn't he live with her? Why are you living with David
She's
still?
32, so she's definitely living, at least alone in Jersey. Like, I think that's achievable.
You're living with your ex-wife's ex-boyfriend. Like, get a house, please. And so then, anyway, he has a girlfriend and is right there next to him, and he just keeps going, like basically like going off about Polly. He seems jealous, and kind of like what you were saying at the beginning, like he's just like doing too much, and Dolores is setting boundaries, and he's like not even trying. I feel like he's not trying to respect them at all. And then Jennifer introduces, the new housewives to, or Teresa introduces the new housewives to Jennifer and says, "These are my party friends. I only hang out with fun people." Does apologize to Marge and wants Marge to come over to talk about things. And I also wrote that, like, I said that Jersey seems small. Everyone knows everyone, because it seems like they do. Because Dolores is like, "Oh yeah, I know Rachel because Rachel knows Frank's girlfriend because they used to train together and Frank was their trainer." I was like, wow, like
But
that's crazy.
Margaret just knows everybody because she's messy. Like, so
Yeah, she knows everyone. She knows
get on
everyone.
Margaret's
And
neck.
then
Don't worry.
they come into a group again, and Jennifer and Dolores are part of that group, but then Jennifer tries to run away again. And Dolores is like, "Wait, come back because we're not done talking. So you got to come here." And then invites her to the charity event. All the husbands are invited to the charity event, which I don't really want to see. So what do we think about that part of the episode?
Um, I didn't like how Marge was like playing such victim with Teresa. Like, Marge, it was 2 years ago when you threw a glass of wine at Danielle. Like, let's not forget that you did that. Let's not forget that you got into like a physical fight with Danielle again, I think in the next season. I don't even remember. But like Marge is just like, I'm not messing with you. I'm about to get on your neck soon. Your turkey neck. Um, I think it's so interesting right now that Jennifer's actually closer to Melissa right now than anyone else on the cast. Like that's a little
Mm-hmm.
alarming to me.
Alarming.
I think everyone looked good at the event, right? Except for
Mm-hmm.
why didn't Louis wear anything? Like I'm so tired of like the men not participating in things. Like just
Not dressing up.
even Bill wore a bright shirt. Like shout out to Bill. Shout out to Dr. Bill. Um
He was like, "I had a Run DMC shirt, but I didn't wear it. So why are you even mentioning it then?"
yeah, literally loser.
Just be quiet. The
Sting.
two new housewives. What do you think about them?
I'm not gonna get into them until Cause after Jen Shaw, after she played the dog shit out of me, I'm not gonna get into either of them. I'm gonna wait till the end of the season to give an opinion on them. I've got my eyes on them. How about that?
Mm, I understand that. I think, yeah, Melissa's party was cute. Mark broke her wrist. I thought it was really big of Teresa to, go up to Marge and just basically be like, I would like to invite you over to talk to you about everything that happened. Like, I thought that was really big of her. Because, damn well she wouldn't have done that in the last seasons. You're
Like
crying.
my auntie is growing. Like,
She really is. And she said she's seen a therapist and somehow, I don't really want to admit it, but maybe Louis is like kind of helping her in that sense. Like, just like with her mental health and maybe learning to chill out. Because she did say, like, in the first part of the episode that Louis' mom is a therapist. So they like talk about a lot of stuff and are very open with like their emotions, their feelings. So maybe she's learning to be like that by him and his family. And if she is, then that's pretty great because God knows she hasn't had it. So, like, with her own family,
yeah. I didn't
crazy.
notice that Louis' mom was a therapist. I didn't know that. But yeah, I think
Teresa said
it,
that.
it's so big of Teresa to go to therapy. I mean, it's not that big. To me, it's big, but like for a
No,
general
it is.
not that big. But for Teresa, I think that it's big for her to acknowledge that she has an issue and that she is looking to, fix herself. And
Fix it. Hmm.
and it was really cool to also see her acknowledge like maybe some childhood trauma with her dad. Because
Yeah.
really angry. So it was really cool for her to like acknowledge that on TV and, because sometimes, we do whatever we can to protect our parents. And we don't acknowledge like the trauma that they bring to us sometimes. Um, especially like when they're not here anymore. Like it's like
Hmm.
protect them as much as you can. But it was really big for her to share that with everybody. So shout out to her, my auntie.
Shout out to her. Shout out to my mother. Shout out to my mother. Yeah, she was. I think she did a lot of growing just in this episode. Like, if this was any other season, if anyone else would be like, "Do you want to talk to Margaret? Like, apologize to her about how you maybe acted last season," she'd be like, "Are you joking me? Get
She,
out of my house right now."
yeah,
Yeah, she would flip a table on us. Like, she wouldn't be this kind of. I think she's just a lot more calm.
I
She
think it's
was using
because
that
bully.
namaste BS. Yeah, like I was gonna say like she was using all that namaste BS like a couple years ago, but I think it truly applies now.
Yeah.
Okay, so then it goes into the next part, and it introduces Danielle, who seems like the boss of her household because she says she puts the period, the exclamation point, the comma, everything at the end for her family. And she said her kids always look good, her husband's always look good, and then it just kind of like has like a cute family scene with her, and she has a beautiful family, and I think her and her man are kind of cute too. And then goes into Teresa talking about working on herself and kind of what we were just talking about like how her dad had a temper and she had to see that when she was growing up and she reacts the same way, and it's really big of her to notice that now and to kind of get help for it and try to fix things with Margaret. But I don't know. Margaret is messy. Does she deserve things to be fixed? Teresa was kind of mean to her last season. She was like Teresa was saying like you're the one that was making up those rumors. I don't believe Margaret made up those things that we saw on like gossip blogs, like even before the season started. I was like, I don't believe that she made that stuff up. I believe she was talking about it and like asking questions, but like to say that like this shit being reported on like Hollywood Unlocked is what Marge is saying. I just don't think that was true. So I thought Teresa was doing too much last season.
Yeah.
she realizes that she's easily triggered, like Teresa.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I just feel like Margaret played victim again in that interaction. Like, you did talk negatively about Louis, and
Mhm.
Teresa is with, her people. Like, if you talk about anyone negatively, like her children, her man, any of those things, like, you're crossing the line with her. And for her to pretend like she didn't do any of that, like, yes, she was asking questions, um, but like you were being messy, and you know that you were being messy. Like, we know Marge, she does that. She brought these things up to 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 be messy. This is a TV show. Like, she understands the assignment. Like, that's part of the reason why, like, the show is running, is because Marge just, like, she understands the assignment. So, and Teresa's smart. Like, I mean, she's not that smart, but she is smart enough to, like, catch on to that. So, um
Mhm.
she knows that, like, Marge is just perpetuating this narrative about Louis, and this is damaging to him, and he lost his job and things of that nature. So, like, she's upset, and I get that. But the way that Teresa went about that last season was not good, and it is good for her to acknowledge the fact that, like, she took it a little too far. All she had to do was say, "Hey, like, when you are sharing these negative things about my man, like, it's damaging to his character, and, like, he doesn't have a job right now." Like, she could have said those things, and Marge would have, dropped it. Yeah, I just think it's interesting also that Jennifer keeps bringing up the fact that she's upset with Dolores, but will not tell Dolores that she's upset with her. And everyone keeps talking to they keep talking to Joe about Teresa, and Joe's upset with Teresa, but Joe will not talk to Teresa about why he's upset, because he has so much of an ego that he cannot tell his sister that his feelings are fucking hurt. He's such a loser.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
acting like I didn't get a picture with him, but I'm understanding. This guy is a loser. Anyways, we move.
We move. Okay, so it is the day of the photo shoot. So Dolores is arriving. It's gonna be at Marge's house. Marge got a big house. See how big her stairs are? It's like, damn.
Yeah,
Like,
Mark.
if you fell, you kind of over.
Does she actually have that kind of money? Like, I thought she was going through money issues.
I thought so
Let me not count
too.
pockets. Sorry.
The new housewives are arriving, and then Jackie arrives, I guess. And then some of the men are posing, getting their pictures taken.
I completely forgot. In that last scene, we forgot to talk about how Marge brought up
Melissa
Joe
and
and
Joe.
Melissa again. Should we talk about that? Because that part is when he calls Melissa insecure,
Mm,
and then they get mad.
yes.
We need to talk about that, right?
Hmm. So when Marge and Joe go to Teresa and Louis' house, she brings up Melissa and Joe and how, like, they're like Trey's anger is basically displaced. Like, she shouldn't be mad at her because, or she shouldn't be mad at Joe and Melissa because they didn't back Louis up before the wedding and stuff like that. And then Trey, Teresa was just saying, I told her not to say anything, and then she goes to show the text to everybody. Which honestly, I was on Teresa's side when she said that, and she did go do that. And Melissa wasn't saying it in like a, "Hey guys, like, you know, Teresa's really asking us to like stop talking about Louis." She didn't know. Look what Teresa just texted me. Like, that's what Melissa was doing. And so then Louis was saying that that shows that Melissa is insecure, which I don't really understand, but that's just me.
I feel like that was like a Bravo edit thing, like, because I feel like that was in context of something else, and then they just placed it there for what it
Hmm. And then they just told Marge to say that
right?
too. to Melissa.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were like, "We're gonna cut a little bit of the scene, but you're still gonna bring this up to Melissa as if like Louis said that."
What a
Yeah.
shit show. Niggas can't talk to each other. Anyways, I know they're making a show, so I get it. Whatever.
Mhm. Yeah. So then that's all that kind of happens in that, and then like Teresa
They-
goes, like she agrees to go to Melissa's house, or not Melissa's, Marge's house.
Yeah, and then they say that they're gonna build a pact to build a better friendship with one another.
Mhm. And so that gets that's good. That's happening. Everything is all good from last season. That was pretty cray cray. What was going on last season? So I'm glad that they made up, and I'm glad that Teresa was big enough to apologize to her. Um. Okay, so day of the photo shoot, Dolores got there. Frank's in the ER. Guess his bowel stopped working. That sucks. Praying for him. New housewives arrive. Jackie arrives. The men are posing. They're getting the pictures taken. Teresa comes in um, with Louis. Says hi to one of the husbands. Says hi to Joe. Joe starts saying that he doesn't really want to be around Teresa right now because of how Teresa's treating Melissa about the wedding. And if she doesn't want to get the family back together, then he's not, going to say anything or even try. Um, and so then Jen and Bill are arriving. Joe's photo shoot, that's kind of the only one that I really remember, and I remember being grossed out. But honestly, he was posing. That was like really a moment for him. And Louis was posing. And then during Louis' photo shoot, Marge runs to these losers with a tea that she got from Teresa's house and was just basically saying that, like, she said sorry to me, but like, she doesn't like that you showed that text to everybody. And then I like what Melissa said to that, like, after Marge said, like, oh, and he like thinks you're insecure. um, what Melissa said was like, "Oh, so I'm telling people please don't talk about Louis, and then that means I'm insecure." And I was like, "You did not say it that way, and you did not show the text that way. So like, why are you trying to rewrite history right now?"
Yeah. I don't do you think it was because of the way that Marge like positioned what she said? Because I don't know. That didn't make much sense to me either. Like just I don't understand what Bravo was doing in saying that Louis said that Melissa was insecure about that text message. Like what that doesn't make any sense. Louis looks like he's smart. So like I'm not gonna like, like I'm not gonna I think he's smarter than saying that to me, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of editing is happening right now, but it is a little weird. Like, what? How is Melissa insecure for that? I think she's stupid for that. And clearly, Teresa was upset about that because she was like, why would you show that to everybody? But and like Melissa wasn't coming from a caring place when she was showing that to everybody. That's what I
Yes.
believe. Yeah, but that's what I believe. Um,
That's what
okay,
Louis
so
should have
then
said.
she was being messy
How could Melissa deny that? She was being messy by saying that.
by
I mean,
saying that.
she
And
could
she wouldn't, there's no way, yeah, and then there would be no way for her to frame it like saying, oh, please don't talk about Louis. Like I was asking that for Teresa because there's actual video footage of you showing people. So, okay, so then that scene ends. So nothing really happens except for just what happened in that part of the episode. Marge being messy and Melissa being messy, but always trying to hide her hand. She is sick. That's all I gotta say. And so is Joe. And that's all I gotta say. Any other thoughts? Any thoughts on that part?
um what happened? Marge again is downloading information. Like I know this is like obviously Bravo or edit or producer saying, hey, you need to tell Melissa and Joe
So
what
and so.
yeah. But I just don't like that, and I don't like that Melissa and Joe are having these, like, brewing feelings about Teresa and will not tell Teresa how they actually feel, like,
Mhm.
Joe should be able to come up to his sister or call his sister and be like, "Hey, I'm, like, really upset with how you treated me in the last reunion. I'm really upset with the fact that you're not having my wife as in your bridal party, but you want me there. Like, I think that that's not fair or nice." Like, he could have like, it's all about your positioning and how you say things, you know what I'm saying? Like, he could have definitely said that, and I feel like Teresa would have been like, okay, like, she loves her brother so much, like, she would do anything for him, I feel like. And even like a last minute pity, like, hey, you can be in my bridal party now, like, like, I don't know.
Mhm. No.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
you're so right.
Yeah.
You're so right. We get into the last part of the episode. So Dolores's boyfriend Polly shows up, and he is new and he is here. And Frank better get used to it, clearly, from what we've seen in this episode.
Mhm.
He seems to really like Dolores. Dolores seems very mushy and happy with him, which we've never seen before. She's obviously not like that with Frank. And clearly she wasn't like that with David, because did David even like her? So yeah, I think it's really cute that her and Polly look good together, even though Polly is interesting looking. And then Bill has his photo shoot, which is actually really funny. I wrote down "something is wrong with you" when he was saying that during his photo shoot. That was so funny.
Oh my god.
Oh. And then Polly took his pictures, and he was like a bartender because he's like Irish or something like that. It was really cute. And then Jen is literally telling everybody about Dolores and her problem. And what I'm not understanding is Margaret and Jen both had different paths when it came to infidelity. So when Jen was talking about this with like the new housewives, the new housewife Rachel was just like, "Well, why are you chastising Margaret for, doing the same thing that your husband did, blah blah blah." And I was like, they're actually on two opposite sides of this. Like Jen was cheated on, Margaret did the cheating. So Margaret's not justified in whatever that fight was last season or the season before. Like that was really shitty of Margaret to bring up that infidelity thing. And the fact that she knew about that and just was like keeping that in her arsenal is so bad. Jen got like really upset about that and was just like talking about it again and talking about Dolores. So then Teresa comes to gather everybody to go eat, and then Rachel goes to tell Dolores about that. Then Dolores can hear Jen talking about it to Melissa, and so then she goes to grab Jen, and basically they're talking, and she's saying like Dolores is like saying like I've always been a good friend to you, and Jen's like no you haven't, like I feel like you just like cut me out and like shitty now, and like I don't know why you called me the C word and like New York, like that was not okay. And then, Jen just said, "I'm nice, you're not," and walked away. And like they're still like walking and fighting, which is like, I love that. I love when people are still walking and fighting, because when's this fight gonna end? Never, because y'all are still walking. And then Jen leaves, and she's basically like still talking shit to Dolores, and Dolores like, "I can teach you something," and Jen just says, "Yeah, how to be a bitch and a fucked up friend." That was hella funny. And then she said she looks like an old handbag. So that's the end of Jersey, y'all. That is crazy. That was crazy. Jen is, we love Jennifer.
Yeah. Jennifer keeps the show rolling. This is why she's my daughter. I'm happy for Dolores. Like, she looks super genuinely happy with Polly, even though like he looks like an Irish Frank to me. Um Jennifer, yeah, I don't know that I really was disappointed with Jennifer though for like not going to Dolores and confronting Dolores about how she really feels.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the fact that she waited for Dolores to come up to her. I get that Dolores like hurt her feelings last season. If you're so bothered by this, like, it was very clear that she's very bothered by this from the beginning of this episode to the end of this episode, because she kept talking about it. Um
Yeah.
she should've just took ownership. She should have just went up to Dolores and been like, "Hey, I really didn't like how you did all of these things, da 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 da." And I was upset with Dolores too because Dolores wasn't listening. Like these girls were just not listening to each other, but they also were really
No,
drunk. So that may have, you know,
Jen was pretty drunk.
yeah. And yeah, what else? I don't know. I think Jennifer ate like this episode.
She did.
I
I
felt like
thought she
so
ended the funny, like, she was so funny at the end. Like, that was really funny. Like, I thought that was a good read. Like, I could teach you something. Yeah, how to be a bitch and a fucked up friend. Like, she ate that.
yeah, I don't think anyone has ever clocked Dolores like that. No one ever clocks Dolores, but Jennifer really did a good
Ever.
job of it.
She really did.
Jackie was there. Jackie was here in the whole episode.
How did I forget to even mention that part?
Oh, you're
I
good.
was so I was cringing when she did that. Like, Rachel just came up to tell Melissa all the tea about Jen and Dolores, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I've been standing here and you didn't even acknowledge me." I was like, "Okay, like, just trying to get your screen time, I see." But like,
Yeah.
I thought that was I was cringing. Like, even the second watch, I was like, "Why? Like, you're not really a part of this show, Jackie. I'm sorry.
See
Like,
that
you're not."
Tracy was there too.
No,
Tracy
but I saw that Tiki Barber was there.
Tracy was
Oh,
there
she was.
at the 80s party. Yeah, she was rolling around in the roller rink looking like a loser. Um
Irrelevant.
but
Literally irrelevant.
um it would have been nice if Jackie was like talking because I feel if she was a housewife, she would have been there to like, you know, patch up Dolores
You
and
think so?
I feel like she
She
would have
doesn't
been
even
like
really
patch up
like
Dolores
Jen.
and Jen.
But
She
she
would
doesn't
have.
really like Jen.
She has a soft spot for her. Every season she has a soft spot for Jen. Like they both came in together. Like I know they have a soft spot for each other.
Mm.
To me, in my opinion. I don't know.
Well, that was a good episode. Can't wait for next week. We will be coming back to you with a new episode um every Wednesday. This was so much fun. We'll be back next week for episode 2 and for the rest of the season. Please like, follow, comment, share, subscribe, everything. Follow us all on our socials. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Bye.